Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. You know, I recently broke up with my girlfriend because she didn't have a little toe. I'm lactose intolerant. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Lands of Galzyr from Snowdale Design. In Lands of Galzyr from Snowdale Design, 1 to 4 players take on the roles of various anthropomorphic creatures as they move around the land, having various adventures, conducting various skill checks, and having all sorts of goofy fun. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of the rules here because this is a game where there's a lot of discovery and there's a lot of things to find out here that you will find out through the game. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to have a player board. You're going to have kind of skill sets. You're going to go ahead and you've got small skill sets and large skill sets, and these correspond to kind of a circular skill. I don't know, dial, I guess we'd call it. I don't know if dial's the right word, a circular board. And you kind of place these things on the inner or outer side. And that means with those specific skill checks, you can roll that many of those colored die. And then you have the opportunity to kind of at least roll one with in an adjacent color. So what you're doing throughout the game is you kind of start out with certain quests, and there are different kind of quests and locations on the board, and you can play the board depending on what you're playing in the kind of in the springtime or in the wintertime. You're going to set out various location cards that are going to have number sequences on them. And you're also going to get, as I say, your own quests and some of your own items that will have various number sequences. And what you're doing through the game is you are kind of moving to different locations and trying to have like I say, your quest. Now, you can play this game cooperatively, you can play it competitively, and there's kind of different modes for that. But the big aspect here, the big kind of mechanism of the game is you use an app or a computer, and when you get to certain locations, then you go ahead and you input the number on a card or on a space on the board, and then you input that into the app, and you can actually then read the specific story that comes along with that. So you go ahead and you embark on these quests. And like I say, I don't want to get too much into the weeds here because I want you to discover what these things are for yourself if you choose to play it. So I'm not going to get into the weeds. But you have various objectives, you have various quests, and you have various methods of finding out if you win, essentially, and what your score will be. Now, fundamentally, it is your prestige that is your score. So you're going around, you're trying to score prestige based on the choices you make in these scenarios, based on what you're rolling for dice and the skill check to gain successes. And ultimately, that's going to decide whether you win or lose. Lands of Galzyr. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. So Lands of Galzyr is an interesting little game. Like I say, I'm not getting too much into the rules here. It's been around for a while, and there's kind of other videos and stuff that can explain the game better or in more detail rather than I'm doing here. But suffice it to say, this is a story-driven game, and the mechanism here, of course, is the app. You are engaging in various, like I say, adventures throughout the game and various skill checks during the game, but there's a lot of kind of interaction with the app. And there's different ways that the different characters can help each other. If you're like in the same location, you can like partner up and kind of help with skill checks and whatnot. Generally speaking, I enjoy story-driven games, and I generally enjoy app integration in games. And this game, it tells some fun and interesting stories. Now, having said that, I do have one criticism here of the game, and that is this is a game that is very text heavy. Really, the story is the thing. This almost feels more like a book, like a choose your own adventure book, than a game. Now, obviously, it is a game. You are rolling dice. You do have important, significant choices throughout, but it almost feels like you're reading a book here in a lot of ways. Sometimes I feel like you can go overboard with text. Now, one of my favorite app-driven games is My Father's Work, and that is pretty darn text heavy, and that's about the upper limit of how much text I like in a game. And Lands of Galzyr is probably right up there with it. Because of that, I didn't love the game, but I really did enjoy it. Ray and I played through it. We had a lot of fun. We didn't do the whole campaign, but we had what we played. We had a lot of fun with. So like I say, I do like the fact that you have some significant choices. Like you're choosing where to put the skill. A lot of times you're adding skills and you're trying to decide, well, where do I want these skill checks? What kind of adventures am I going on? Do I want them to kind of complement what I've already got going, or do I want to maybe get into places where I'm not quite as strong? So I like stuff like that, and generally the stories that this game tells are fun and interesting. And again, I'm not a huge fan of kind of anthropomorphic creatures and stuff like that. Was never my big thing. I know the company did. I think it was, oh golly, what the Peacemakers or whatever, a few years ago, and that was a fun game too. Um, I thought it was an interesting concept. An anti-war game where you're trying to talk people out of going to war, which I thought was really cool. I probably would have liked that one better had it not been anthropomorphic animals, but that's just me. At any rate, this is a fun game. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I can't say I loved it, but I'm comfortable giving this a 7 out of 10 on the Cody scale. I think if you are somebody that does like app integration in games, you do like stories, and I'll be honest, I think this will probably be a big hit with younger players. I think, will probably be a great family game. It's a pretty good game, and I think most people will enjoy it. Just beware, there is quite a bit of text here. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please give us a thumb and subscribe to us here on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We would really appreciate it. We'd also very much appreciate it if you would give us a thumb on Board Game Geek as well. If you really like what we do here, please check out my other channel. That is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, military history, books on history, stuff like that. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to that channel as well. And if you do really like the content we bring to you here on The Discriminating Gamer, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that I'm actually retired? In the sense that I was tired yesterday, and I'm tired again today.
I say we play this game for the crown.
It's not been 2 minutes and already I hate you.